In August 1931, a submarine named Nautilus set out on an audacious mission, one that would challenge the very limits of exploration. This wasn't just any mission. It was a daring attempt to reach the top of the world, the North Pole, beneath a frozen expanse of ice. The Nautilus was no ordinary submarine, and the man leading the charge, Sir Hubert Wilkins, was no ordinary explorer. But this expedition would turn out to be far more perilous, chaotic, and tragic than anyone imagined. So where did the Nautilus go? And why did its journey end in ruin? For centuries, explorers battled the Arctic's treacherous conditions. Ships were trapped and crushed by sea ice. Sled dogs and frostbite became the grim companions of adventurers on foot. And hundreds of lives were lost in the pursuit of Arctic glory. By 1926, the North Pole had finally been reached, by air. But no one had yet traveled beneath the ice. Enter Sir Hubert Wilkins, an accomplished polar explorer with an idea as bold as the Arctic itself. He believed a submarine could unlock the mysteries of the Arctic like nothing before. His plan? Take a retired World War I submarine, heavily modify it, and travel thousands of kilometers under the ice to the North Pole. But turning this vision into reality would test Wilkins and the Nautilus like never before. The Nautilus, a retired attack submarine, was fitted with cutting-edge innovations, or so its designers claimed. Renowned naval architect Simon Lake installed steel-reinforced sledge runners to help it slide beneath the ice, hydraulic ice drills to surface through frozen layers, and a diving chamber for undersea research. But Wilkins had doubts. Many of these features were untested and potentially dangerous. Even so, he pressed on. To fund his ambitious expedition, he partnered with newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst, who turned the voyage into a media sensation. Headlines promised the Nautilus would conquer the Arctic, and Hearst offered a $150,000 prize if Wilkins succeeded. From the very start, the Nautilus was plagued by mechanical failures. Its ice drills jammed, its engines struggled, and its cramped interior made life on board unbearable. The submarine's journey across the Atlantic was a nightmare. Fierce storms tossed it like a toy. Sewage, oil, and seawater flooded the sub, leaving the crew seasick and miserable. Then disaster struck. Both engines failed, leaving the Nautilus adrift in the Atlantic. It had to be humiliatingly towed to safety, and 4 crew members quit in frustration. Back home, the media turned against Wilkins, mocking his so-called undersea expedition. Despite the setbacks, Wilkins refused to give up. On July 28, 1931, the Nautilus finally left for the Arctic. Weeks later, it became the first submarine to travel under Arctic ice. The crew collected valuable scientific data and even discovered a warmer layer of water beneath the ice. A major breakthrough, but all was not well on board. The Nautilus had no heat or insulation, and the crew battled freezing conditions and food poisoning. Worse still, the diving rudder, a critical component, was discovered missing. Some suspected sabotage. By August 22nd, Wilkins was running out of options. With no functioning rudder and winter fast approaching, most of the crew begged to turn back. But Wilkins was determined. He ordered the Nautilus to dive beneath the ice, forcing it downward by ramming into the frozen surface. The sound of metal scraping against ice was deafening, and the crew feared the submarine would be torn apart. When they tried to use the ice drills, they failed yet again. The expedition had reached its breaking point. On September 6, 1931, Wilkins finally radioed his surrender. The mission was over. The Nautilus returned home battered and broken. It was deemed unfit for further use, and deliberately sunk off the coast of Norway. Sir Hubert Wilkins, once a celebrated explorer, was left financially ruined. His Arctic dream had turned into a nightmare. It would be another 30 years before a submarine successfully crossed the Arctic under the ice. Fittingly, it was the nuclear-powered USS Nautilus which completed the journey in 1958. Today, the original Nautilus lies forgotten on the ocean floor, a relic of an age of exploration. The story of the Nautilus is one of ambition, innovation, and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. While it ended in failure, it paved the way for future explorers and submarines to achieve what Wilkins had dreamed of. The Nautilus may be lost to history, but its legacy lives on in every daring expedition to the ends of the Earth. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what other stories of exploration you'd like to see.